Here's another one. Sometimes what I'll do is I might find one part of the drawing actually works and the rest of it maybe doesn't work that well, and I might actually crop it and use the area that gives the strength and make a smaller piece out of it. And here's another example. And here's another example. I haven't put any watercolor on this at all yet. It's waiting for me to do that one of these days. The great procrastinator here. And here's another. This is just a combination of different doodles that I put together, and it's not really composed as a piece of work per se, but it will lend itself good in terms of a practice piece and to work out color schemes, that kind of thing. Here's some woodpeckers that are in our backyard. I got a snapshot of. And here's another. And here's a drawing waiting to get some watercolor put on it. And here's another. This is very similar to Doodle, but it'll serve good to work in some watercolor as a learning piece. Now this drawing isn't quite finished yet. And then again, of course, I'll go back in there and throw some watercolor on it. And here's another. And here's another. This one here is not finished yet. And this one here is of our backyard. The tree not too far from our house in the wintertime. And it's not quite finished either. It's got a little more work left to do on it. And this was a doodle that I did. This is Prismacolor crayon. It's not watercolor because I didn't have time to do watercolor. This was on our honeymoon. This is going back a few years. And we were docked in Thunder Bay, and these were the boats. These were the boats that came in the harbor. They were all old boats sitting there waiting to go out. Now these are my brother's dogs, and I'm getting probably near the end here. 10 minutes is I'm not be able to put too much on here in 10 minutes, but I thought I'd show at least, you know, starting off with the rough sketches, the doodles, taking you through a little bit of every phase, if you will. There's a lot of unfinished stuff, as you can see. It always takes time revisiting and going back and reworking it. I find by doing that as well, you can keep it fresh. I find by working on something for a prolonged period of time on a personal level, it tends to not be as fresh. And here's another. This is my brother Terry's dogs. He's a dog lover. He's a horse lover as well. And here were a few more doodles of his dogs. And they're waiting to get watercolor put on them. Here is a drawing of our Canadian Prime Minister at the Parliament building. I haven't quite finished the drawing yet. And I'm going to be throwing some watercolor on that as well. Very fine. Just in closing, I'm going to just touch on some of the stuff I did in my profession as a sign painter. And this is what I did to maintain my livelihood. Okay, so we did wedding banners, banners for pretty much all occasions. Did anniversary banners, birthday banners, banners of all kinds. And we just put our little price list together there for our customers. Of course, we did sporting events, things of that nature. We also did magnetic stock for vehicles and mounted right on vehicles, either decals and or magnetic stock, or we would do computer generated pressure sensitive vinyls and or hand lettering. Of course, there's a big market in billboards. We do a lot of billboards through the course of the many years. We do all kinds of Crescent signboards, camp signs, all kinds of different signs. Signs of all kinds. On occasion, we do caricatures for the steel plant here in the city, for retiring parties and whatnot. We do show cards for stores, advertising sales and whatnot. And of course, we did commercial vehicles, snow machines, very popular. And that pretty much summarizes everything there. And I thank you folks for coming by here, and you folks have yourself a very good evening.